Casey likes from Back to the Future. Casey, if you had to choose a playwright that inspires you the most, who would it be?
Oh man. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's mostly done musicals, but Jonathan Larson is really a powerful playwright to me. I think his story is so very interesting. I don't come from a lot of privilege growing up, and knowing that he made his legacy completely self-made, and he wrote about things that he knew. I think it shows in all of his work. I think you can feel that these very specific scenarios he writes about resonate with everyone because it's real. It's exactly what he went through, and I just love it.
If you had to choose a role that you would love to do, what would it be?
I mean, there's a lot, there's a few roles, there's so many roles in musical theater. I'm a musical theater head, so, but I mean, I love Pippin, I love Roger and Rent, and I'm actually doing a concert this summer, which I'll get to do that role, that's great. And then, what else? I mean, that's in the musical world. I mean, King Lear's today, I'm sure, you know, the one from the Scottish play, that would be fun, but I don't know, yeah.
Thank you so much. Hi, we're with Grant Gustin from Water for Elephants. Grant, who's your favorite playwright and why?
I was just talking about Sam Shepard, so maybe Sam Shepard's always been someone that I love. I mean, I think I was exposed to his work in high school when I was at Governor's School for the Arts in Virginia, and I don't know, because he can do it all. It can be so dark and gritty, but he also does comedy so well, and I've never done a Sam Shepard play, but I've always wanted to, so yeah, Shepard's one of my favorites.
Now, you're singing on Broadway, but I see you as the Flash.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome. What musical would you like to do that you haven't had a chance to do yet?
I've always said I wanted to originate something, and I'm getting to do that now, but I mean, it's changed as I've gotten older. Like, one of my dream roles when I was younger was Link in Hairspray. A friend of mine was a replacement. Tom Cavanaugh from Flash was in Urinetown, and I think that's one that's due for a revival. I've always wanted to do Urinetown. There's so many musicals I'd love to do.
Is there a play that you'd like to do?
A pivot, very different play is The Pillow Man. I've always loved The Pillow Man. I would love to do that play someday. Yeah, Donna. Yeah, I would love to do that.
Thank you so much.
I'm Joy Woods, and I'm from The Notebook.
And if you had to choose a playwright that really inspired you, who was it?
I really am a fan of Dominique Marceau's work. Do some more of that.
And is there a role that you'd like to take on that you haven't had a chance to do yet?
You know, that question is asked all the time, and I never have an answer. But I think I'd like to tackle Sarah in Ragtime at some point.
Thank you.
My name is Jordan Tyson with The Notebook.
And Jordan, if you had to choose a playwright that has inspired you to do theater, who would that be?
Lynn Nottage. Love her work so much. She's spoken to the multiple decades of Black life and how rich it can be, how flawed we all are, and I just love her work a lot.
And is there a role that you'd like to take on that you haven't had a chance to do?
I don't know if it's been written yet.
Is there a songwriter that you'd like to sing for?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I just want to sing poetic music, so whoever that might be.
I'm Ryan Vasquez, and I'm in The Notebook.
And who's the playwright that inspired you to do theater?
The playwright specifically, I guess, would be Jonathan Larson. I mean, Rent was really a breakthrough for me in terms of falling in love with what we do, and so to be here to honor Michael is obviously just a surreal experience being in a show that he's directing and having had all this history with his work, so it's awesome.
So far, you're the second person that said Larson.
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, the legacy lives on, of course, so yeah, it's gorgeous.
And is there a role that you would like to take on? What is it?
I think when I grow into being the father in Next to Normal, I've always really loved the show. Another Michael show, of course, so clearly I'm in a lane, but I'm looking forward to starting to play some of those roles. So. Thanks.
Yeah, Ali Louis Porsky, and I'm playing Tommy.
Of all the playwrights and songwriters that have written for the theater, Who has inspired you the most?
Oh wow. I'd say Jason Robert Brown in terms of specific like composing. Even I write a lot of music myself, and I frequently find myself accidentally writing things that are very similar to him. Currently Brendan Jacob Jenkins is just one of my favorite playwrights. I think he writes. I think he manages to combine like realistic human experience with sort of like folk tales and abstract worlds, and I love the way that he combines those.
Is there a role that you'd like to take on that you haven't had a chance to do yet?
Oh wow. I'd say. Well, I really want to get into TV film after this, so I'd love to be in any kind of it. I get choked up in this question sometimes because there are a lot, but when I think of what I'm excited for, it's originating roles. I've gotten the opportunity to originate a few different roles. And I'm excited about new stories, and I just want to be on the forefront of creating new roles and new stories and more underrepresented stories. So, yeah.
I'm Betsy Adam, and I was in Prayer for the French Republic. But I'm also here from Michael Greif, one of my oldest friends.
Your performance was one of my favorite things, and your play is my favorite play this year. If you had to choose a playwright that got you into theater, who would that be?
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess when I was still in drama school, Chekhov was the one that, I thought, okay, I don't understand this, but I'm going to throw myself at it. Williams, the early people that we started. But the people who resurrected my career, like Adam Rapp, who's nominated also, I loved working on his plays. Josh Harmon. I just got to have I've had some extraordinary luck in playwrights. For a while, I was doing my bio just listing the writers because that's why we're here.
And is there a role that you haven't done that you would love to do?
Yeah, I've got a few. I'd love to do Amanda in Glass Menagerie. I'm dying to do Hay Fever. There's a few. All right, I got to go.
My name is Will Brill, and I am representing Stereophonic, the play on Broadway.
I have to tell you that your performance is one of my favorite performances this year.
Oh, gee whiz. Thank you so much.
I was so excited to see you on this line.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. That means the world to me. I'm having arguably too much fun, an illegal amount of fun in this play.
You're brilliant.
Thank you.
What playwright or playwrights made you want to do theater?
Oh, gosh. I was the first two real plays that I ever did in my life. I was 16, 17 years old. I did a production with a friend of Scooter Thomas Makes It to the Top of the World by Peter Parnell, who later went on to be a producer for The West Wing and won a bunch of Emmys. But that play, for numerous reasons, meant the world to me. I got to play 17 roles in it. It was really incredible. And then immediately after that, I played John Proctor in my high school's production of The Crucible. And so those plays really... Oh, and then actually when I was 3 years old, I screamed at the actor playing Captain Hook in Peter Pan. I screamed, "You poo-poo head," at him. And my parents were like, "This kid should be in theater. Like, we have to do that for him." So I would say those three plays.
Now, I know you also do musicals. Is there a role that you would like to take on that you haven't had a chance to do yet?
I mean, so many. I was honestly heartbroken that Parade had a revival last year because Leo Frank, I think, is one of the most beautiful roles in American musical theater. But also, I would kill to do Company. I would love to be in basically anything that Sondheim wrote. I'm just such... I don't tell my playwright friends, but I truly believe that, like, musical theater, American musical theater at its peak is the peak human art form. I think there is nothing that expresses the human soul better.
I would agree with you. Thank you so much. Brian D'Arcy James from Days of Wine and Roses. Your role is so layered and so wonderful.
Thank you.
What plays or playwrights inspired you to do what you do?
Well,
for whatever reason, I'm Irish American, so I've had some good luck doing some great Irish plays. And Conor McPherson is one of my favorite playwrights. Jez Butterworth is up there. I did his play The Ferryman, which is possibly one of my favorite plays of all time. But those are the first playwrights that come to my mind right now.
What role or roles haven't you had a chance to take on that you would like to take on?
I mean, this question has come up a bit lately, and I think I finally have an answer. I think I would like to give a shot at playing George in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. I was introduced to Edward Albee's work when I was in high school, doing a weird dramatic duo interpretation of the Zoo Story with a buddy of mine, and I had no idea what I was doing. But something about his writing was so alluring and mysterious and funny and dangerous, and I've always had a big attraction to Albee. But that role of George is something that I would love to give a shot at.
My name is Rick Ellis, and I wrote Water for Elephants, this musical that's apparently nominated for some things this spring. We'll see what happens.
I love your book for Water for Elephants. It is.
Well, you come and sit right next to me then.
But you've also written other things. Talk about what else you've written.
Oh, I wrote Jersey Boys with Marshall Brickman, The Addams Family, The Cher Show, Peter and the Starcatcher. That was a great, fun project. And I'm writing Smash right now with the legendary Bob Martin, and Princess Bride with him also. And Water for Elephants is like squeezed in there in the middle. You know, you never know when things are going to happen. So Water for Elephants came in this year. We're all very excited at the air-conditioned Imperial Theater.
Who inspired you to write and to become who you became?
It's going to sound like I'm making this up, but this is true. There's a wonderful playwright still with us named Tom Stoppard, and my partner created roles in two of his plays in the West End in London. And so I got to know Tom in the early 80s when I was, still a child. And when he came to New York, whenever he comes to New York, we tend to meet somewhere near Lincoln Center usually. And when he was here doing the previews for Arcadia, that magnificent play that he wrote that came to Broadway in the 95 season, we went to see a preview, and then we had dinner across the street. And I was sitting there a little looking, I guess, depressed, he thought. And he said, "Didn't you like the play? You seem so depressed." And I said, "Oh God, Tom, it's like proof of a higher power, this play. It's like, you're like Mozart. I mean, how can you... I'll never, ever..." I was in advertising at the time, writing commercials. So I said, I'll never write anything longer than 30 seconds, but I'll never, if I work my whole life, I'll never be able to write one sentence as good as anything that's in your play. And he said, this is the answer to your question, who cares whether it's good or not? Why don't you just write if it gives you pleasure? There are writers that I feel the same way about. And I said, oh yeah, like who, Tolstoy? And he said, well, yes, for one. So Tom Stoppard aspires to Tolstoy, and I aspire to what he gave me permission to do, which was just to write and not worry about whether it was great or worthy. Just to do it, and maybe one time it would be worth people coming to see. So it was the day that he gave me permission, and that was the day I decided to leave advertising.
Thank you.
My name is Keisha Lewis, and I am playing Miss Liza Jane in Hell's Kitchen.
Well, I think you're the Tony winner, so I think you're genius. Who inspired you as a playwright to do what you do?
I'm not a playwright. I'm an actor.
I know you're an actor, but I think playwrights inspire us.
I see what you're saying. I would say the primary one in my formative years was Ntozake Shange. I read her plays when I was a younger teenager, and I read a lot of just her body of work. She had a couple of novels that I loved, and I could see myself in them. Maya Angelou was another one. These authors who bring people to life because, as an acting coach of mine would always say, we hold the mirror up to nature. As they're holding that mirror up and I can see myself, it inspires me to not just want to get into these stories, but to also play these people.
Every great play I get to be a part of.
Is there a role or roles that you would love to take on that you haven't had a chance to do yet?
Yes, I have a couple.
It's really cool because
One is The Witch and Into the Woods,
theater at its best.
and Gypsy, Mama Rose.
And I feel like